So, Lara, what made you decide to go to medical school?
Well, there were a number of reasons. It's something I've always been interested. As a kid, I always thought I would go into medical school. It didn't work out for me in my 20s, so I thought I had to give that up. More recently, I've been more involved in health and wellness. My husband had injuries from overseas, and coordinating with his medical professionals to see how I could help really reawoke the interest in doing that and my interest in helping people be healthy.
So it's something that's always been in your heart and mind. How do you then make the decision that you're going to go to medical school? At this point in life, that you're not in your 20s anymore, and so that does that pose any specific challenges?
Yes and no. I know I'm actually better prepared for medical school now than I was in my 20s. I have more life experience, more empathy, and I know how to study better now than I did back then. I did take some courses to see what it would be like to be a student again because, as you said, I'm not 20, so do I really want to go back to a student lifestyle? All the work I've put into it to this point with taking courses, studying for MCATs, taking the MCAT exam, it's shown me that it will be hard work, but it will be worth it.
So tell me about your GoFundMe.com page and how that idea came about for you.
It was part of creative thinking, and it was actually suggested to me because I'm not going to a Canadian school. Student loans does cover some of it. Obviously my savings covers some of it, but that doesn't cover everything when you're having to go outside the country. So we were brainstorming, thinking of some outside the box ways to come up with more funding, and somebody suggested, why don't you crowdfund? And so we went from there.
So, and tell me about the school that you're going to, that you've been accepted into.
I've been accepted at Saba University School of Medicine, which is in the Dutch Antilles. It is one of what are called the Big Four, the Caribbean schools that have all the accreditations for Canada and the US. And it has the advantage of, because it's on an island owned by the Netherlands, it is an American-owned school and it has first world qualifications and accreditations.
And so have you met any other doctors who've come through that school?
I have, actually. There are a surprising number working in Canada, and actually the more I ask people about SABA, the more graduates I'm finding. And I did speak at length with a doctor who's just about to start working in Nova Scotia. He's finishing his residency, and asked him some of the harder questions. What are the disadvantages and advantages of being an IMG or an international medical graduate? And he was really frank, and he loves the school, and the more, like I said, the more I ask, the more I find out how well known it is. And
so you want to be a doctor practicing in what field?
I would like to go into family medicine. It's really important to me to help people live healthier lives. And I've been inspired by my family doctor. I love the way she practices. I want to be able to help people in all aspects of their health. And I think being the primary healthcare provider is the way to do that. I also want to be in a more rural or less urban center so that I can be part of the community as well. And I think a lot of people in rural areas do have a hard time finding family doctors, and I'd like to help.
There's definitely a need there. So Lara, why aren't you going to a Canadian medical school?
I would love to go to a Canadian school. One of the issues is time. I'm at a point in my life where if I can do it now, I would like to get started. Life is short, so if I can do it now and take less time to do it, which I can because SABA runs all year round, I would like to be out there working as soon as possible.
So how long of a program is it then?
It works out, because I want to do family medicine with the 2-year residency, it works out to be about 5 years rather than 6, so I can be out working as soon as possible.
And then do you have thoughts on how long you would work as a doctor? You know, are we going to get you through medical school and then you're going to retire a couple of years later?
Absolutely not. This is my passion. This is what I need to be doing. So it's something that I fully intend to and will be able to do for many years. That's one of the nice things about being a doctor, is there is no mandatory retirement age. I want to be helping people. I want to be involved in my patients' healthcare. I want to do this, so I will continue as long as I possibly can. Not too long ago, I was talking to a friend of mine whose friend's father was a doctor and recently passed away in his mid-90s and was practicing all the way up to his 90s. So it's definitely something, if you have the passion for, that you can do.
I'm going to retire before my mid-90s. maybe early 90s. What do you really want people to know as they're considering whether they should sponsor you when they're making that decision?
I want them to know there are lots of good causes out there, and I understand that. In my case, I again like to think of it as a sponsorship, because I do want to pay it forward as well. There are lots of, especially elderly patients, who don't have somebody who will advocate for them, and I want to be that person. And not only will somebody be able to help me reach that goal, helping the people I will be helping, but as I pay that forward, it will help other women with their education as well.
So how do you intend to pay it forward, as you say?
There are various ways. I've always been community-minded, so I've always done volunteer work, and that certainly won't stop. I've actually been talking to some like-minded individuals since I started my fundraising, and they're in the process right now of incorporating a society that will specifically have a mission to help women fulfill their potential through educational funding. So I'm obviously helping with that as much as I can with time and effort.
And for people who are looking at your GoFundMe page and considering sponsoring you, what do you really want them to know? What do you want them to know as they're making that decision?
I want them to know that I know there are a lot of worthwhile causes out there. Again, I look at it more as a sponsorship for me, because I intend to pay it forward. I will pay that money towards other people's education, and not only does it help the other people who will benefit there, but once I'm through school, it'll help all the people that I can help. And there are a lot of especially elderly patients out there who may not have somebody to advocate for them, especially in a rural area where there aren't as many doctors. So I really want to be out there and helping people as quickly as I can, and I'm hoping that other people think that's a worthwhile endeavor.
Any final thoughts you want to leave people with?
Most importantly, I can't do this without your help. I will be a good doctor. I care about people. I will make a difference. I need the opportunity to do that.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.